and welcome to my video about 7 years of traveling, my 7 biggest fails. And I hope this might not end up being one of the biggest fails during the next 7 years because it's minus 18 degrees outside, but it's super sunny and I really wanted to be outside to shoot this video. So let's see how that goes. Hi Lovebug, I'm Vivi. Welcome to adventurously. My channel is all about guiding you to an exceptional life that you're truly in love with, filled with all the adventure and the sparkle and the magic. So if this is something that you want to create more of in your life, consider subscribing. Welcome again to my winter wonderland. Like you can see these like freaking like ice things behind me. My tripod is actually like that much in snow. I'm going to show you around in a little bit, but let's get started with the 7 biggest fails. One of my biggest fails definitely been going to Bali and believing I can just extend my visa in visiting the embassy one time for an hour or so. And that definitely ended up as a huge mistake because I ended up having to go 5 times. The first time I went there was lunch break and I still had other plans in the afternoon, so I didn't want to wait for like 2 hours for them to reopen. Okay, I came back the next day and well, May 1st, national holiday, international holiday probably, the thing was closed. So I came back again. I filled out all the information that I wanted to have, filled out all the papers, booked my flight so they actually know that I'm leaving the country and not overstaying, which is kind of stupid, but anyway. Come back again so they can take a picture, have like a short like 1-minute interview, like they take your fingerprints I think, and I've been waiting for like 2.5 hours and it was like 2 more numbers till it was my turn. And the system crashes. Yay! Amazing. So they tell us that it might come back out, so we should stay. I ended up waiting almost 7 hours until they told us come back the next day. So I came back the next day. They officially opened at 8, but I was there at 7:30 and I was done in like 5 minutes. So that was pretty good, and I had to come again to pick up my passport and my visa. So I actually wasted like 5 days out of the 30 days that they give you. I could have taken an agent. I didn't know. I wasn't really aware. I didn't really do my research. So that ended up being a really funny, not so funny story. But it's cool. It's an experience. I learned from it, and now I know when I want to go back to Bali, I'll definitely think about the visa situation beforehand. Another big fail happened close to Cancun in Mexico. My Spanish family came visiting me. We did this huge road trip, 3 weeks through southern Mexico. It was incredible. So we rent a car, we leave the city, and not even like 20 minutes out of the city, like actually just leaving the city, the police stops us. And apparently we've been driving too fast, which was not the truth. Everyone was driving faster than us. But as we were tourists, they stopped us, told us all the shitty things that we had to do. They wanted us to pay a fine of $300, which in Mexico is an insane amount of money. And we didn't really do anything wrong. Ooh, snow. So I started arguing with him. I was like, no, this is not true. You're telling us lies. Like whatever you're telling us, it's not true. I started arguing with him, and I ended up telling him, you know what, I've been living in Mexico for more than a year. I know the kind of game that you're playing. And he got really upset. So he went back, talked to his friend, and they ended up telling us, okay, you know what, like, just so that you know that we're not like that, like they're not into corruption and stuff, funny, we're gonna let you go. But the fun thing that they were pressuring us with was like, we're gonna take away your number plates and we're gonna like make you come to court and we're gonna ruin your holiday if you do not pay these $300 now. We're like, we don't even have dollars, like we're not Americans. Like we're Europeans, we have freaking euro, but also like we don't travel with euros all the time. Like what do you expect? And he's like, yeah, I have to pay it now. It was just like hilarious. And being persistent and arguing and like talking kind of nicely, but like being persistent really helped me all the times when I got into situations like that. What doesn't help, if you have someone else with you in a situation who's like, okay, let's just pay it, I don't want trouble, I don't want any conflict. Because if you're not on the same team, if you're not on the same side, it'd be really hard to fight corruption and to go against this. The same happened in Zanzibar. Zanzibar is so corrupt. It's one of the worst places I've ever been. More to that maybe later if you want to know the whole Zanzibar story. Please, if you're female, if you're a woman, don't ever go to Zanzibar. Like, save your life, don't go there. That's all I have to say to that. Another funny story was in Mexico. We're seeing these like really cool flamingos. We want to go closer. There's this lagoon kind of thing. We start walking over the mud, and suddenly the mud gets really muddy and we start sinking in. And I actually was in the mud till I think my upper leg, and I ended up losing my shoes because it was so hard to get out of that place. Ended up being super muddy, super dirty. It was hilarious. We had the biggest fun, but it also was kind of a fail because we really wanted to get closer to the flamingos, and we wanted to get closer to the place and just explore the place, which was lots of fun. But well, it ended up me losing my shoes, which isn't a big deal. I just got new ones, so it made up for a good story. It was a lot of fun. The next kind of fail that I had was in Bolivia. I booked a Spanish-speaking tour through Salardeo Uni, which is like one of the biggest, or the biggest, salt desert in the world. Freaking gorgeous, incredibly beautiful. You cannot really go by yourself unless you have your own car, which by that time I didn't. So I booked a 3-day tour. I booked a Spanish-speaking tour to be with like South Americans, whatever. Funny thing, I ended up with 5 Germans and 1 English guy. Hilarious. You're trying to avoid your people and then you end up being with them all the time. That is kind of things that like kind of annoy me sometimes. There's just too many Germans everywhere and I try to escape them, which is kind of hard sometimes. But yeah, this is what you get. My phone just crashed. It was apparently too cold for the phone, so we're gonna give this another try, and I'm trying to speak kind of faster because I know this is gonna happen again. But I really want to finish it out here because it's so beautiful and the sky is so blue. So the next point of my biggest fails, after the totally German tour that I didn't want to be German, because come on, I was in Bolivia and I just speak Spanish, so I wanted like some cool people around. Not that Germans aren't cool, but some of them maybe. Actually, probably biggest fail was trying to surprise my parents for Christmas. And that time my parents were traveling in their camper van. They were in Greece, going to Turkey, and I wanted to come and see them for Christmas. I couldn't tell them I'm coming because I wanted it to be a surprise. I wanted it to be fun. But also, traveling in a camper van means like you don't really have a schedule and you're just driving as much or as little as you feel like. So it was kind of hard to know where to fly to, how to get to the place, and how to actually meet them. Because sometimes they're in the middle of the nowhere, where there's no city, there's just in some random beach in the middle of nowhere, whatever, just enjoying the camper van life. So I tried to invent the story that I met someone who's from Greece and I had this present that I wanted to give them, and they had to meet this person at this place on that day. And when they asked me like, okay, so what if you can't find the person, whatever, I was like, no, you have to wait, like no matter what, you're staying there till that person comes. And apparently I should not have said that, because that's when I noticed like, oh, okay, so if it's that important, probably she's coming to see us. And well, they were right, they weren't that excited about the surprise because they actually would have preferred knowing it. And I know anticipation is the nicest form of joy, but I really wanted to surprise them. It didn't work out. Anyway, we still ended up having the most incredible 4 weeks traveling Greece and Turkey during Christmas time. It was still beautiful. Next story is really funny. I was traveling Nusa Penida in Indonesia with my Mexican friend Carlos. We were renting the scooter on the small island. We were driving over the like craziest roads. Like sometimes we had to go so slow because the road was so steep. The fun thing was we were coming back from this beautiful place kind of late at night, and I couldn't figure out how to turn the lights on. So I assumed the lights are broken. So my friend Carlos, who's the most amazing drone photographer, gets out these like big lights puts them like on my shoulders. Like he's sitting behind me with the lights in his hands on my shoulders, supporting himself, like shining the light. We're driving like that for like almost 2 hours, having a break, and the guy asks us like, why are you driving without lights? I'm like, yeah, they're broken. Like, I don't know. And he turns like 2 switches and suddenly the light were on. So we learned something new. Keep on trying. I'm normally the one who's like trying out all the switches and trying out all the possibilities. I couldn't figure it out. Now I learned it. Now I knew how to do it. The funny thing is, he was like with his 2 lights. I'm sure we looked like the most 2 hilarious people on this island. Anyway, it was like an incredible story. It was so much fun. We actually also killed a snake because I didn't see it. It was just like really dark, and I just like went over it and like lifted my feet up and just screamed, which was really funny. Like I couldn't react that fast. It was just like right in front of us. So that happened as well. Funny story. The next bad thing that happened was when I just started traveling. I wanted to go to New Zealand. And I thought, okay, New Zealand is kind of an expensive place. Let me try do the au pair thing. And like you have a safe place to live, you're earning some money, you don't have to worry about food or accommodation all the time. Kind of a cool thing, right? That's what I thought. Well, it ended up being the worst experience. I ended up in this Indian family, and I love Indians. I love India, I love Indian food, so I thought it would be amazing. Well, it turned out it was the worst experience ever. The kid that was like 6 years old still peed in her pants. The mom just let her be in like the pee thing because, you know, we still had stuff to do. And we couldn't go home right now because she still wanted to go grocery shopping. I was like, oh my god, this can't be true. The kids weren't allowed to use the L word and the H word. I was like, what's that? Like loser or what? Like, no. You're not allowed to say love because you cannot love anyone apart from your mom and God. Like you cannot say I love cookies or I love my friend. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And you're not allowed to use the H word, which is hate. You're not allowed to hate anything or anyone in this world. And I was like, okay, kind of a new concept to me, but anyway. And they wanted me to pray with them in Hindi, which I do not speak Hindi. And you know, I'm okay learning a prayer or whatever if that's what I want. But expecting me to know the thing after like 2 days and know it by heart in a language that I don't speak was like kind of too much. What came to it was that I got there in winter. It was kind of cold and my luggage got lost, so I only had a hand luggage. I was freezing cold. I just left all my friends in Chile and I just really didn't feel comfortable, so I was like, fuck this. After a week, I left, I found something else, and I created the most incredible experience in New Zealand. So I turned it around and still created something amazing. But yeah, being an au pair in New Zealand, I was there for a really short time. These were my 7 biggest fails during 7 years of traveling. Not that bad actually for 7 years. Nothing really bad happened. If you like this video, consider subscribing, and if you want to create a life that you're truly in love with, a more adventurous life, then reach out to me. I have courses on that. I do one-on-one coaching. I'll be really happy and excited to help you with that. And if you know anyone who would benefit from this video or who would enjoy watching this video, please consider sharing this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. Alright, so for the phone crashes, let me show you this winter wonderland. This is where I've been filming my video. You see, like, this is where the tripod was. It's kind of like deep in snow.